Well, everyone, we're here at the 3rd annual Rams Club Jet event, and it's been a soggy weekend so far. Saturday morning, BDX is flying good. They've got 29 pilots so far. We're hoping for a few more if the weather dries out. Today looks like it's going to be good. Sunday looks like it's going to be even better. So everybody's still having a good time, even though we're a little wet. Now I'll try to get some of the action here and put it on the channel. We got quite a few people here. Some nice jets, more people showing up. Some great airplanes here. Nice EA Razor there. L39. Quite a few F-16s here this year. Composite Arc Rebel Max. Recovery crew is down there picking up that F-16. New Boomerang Atom. Of course, my favorite plane, my BDX Checkmark Scheme. Viper Jet, F-16, King Cat, another L-39 down here. Well, not a bad turnout considering the amount of rain we got on Friday, or Thursday and Friday. So far it's going well. Well, first casualty of the event. F-16 flamed out. Didn't quite make the runway. Looks like it might not be too badly damaged, but hopefully it's not too bad. BBM F16 coming out.
I'll stop it outside the store.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I just had our jet meet over the past weekend, and now we're approximately 8 to 10 days out from Joe Nall, and I had another turbine failure with the BDX. Luckily, it was on the ground, just a no-start situation, but as I diagnosed the problem, it became clear that something was really wrong with it, as it would start when it was cold, but it wouldn't restart when it was hot. And after going through all the parameters in the data unit. I finally pulled the turbine out, and when I did, I heard something loose rattling in the nose cover where all the electronics are, and there seems to be a screw loose in there, which has happened before when the turbine wheel went out of balance. And so it's on its way back to Andy at Sweewind, and there's no way that engine's making it back for Joe Nall. So I've got the Mammoth pulled out of mothballs. I've got it on the test stand, and I ran it. And I don't use this engine because it's a pound heavier than the Sweewind, and I just don't like the way it runs. And if you don't get these hoses perfectly in the Festo fittings, it leaks. So it's just a pain in the butt. But now I'm stuck with it for Joe Nall. And then after that, there's a week in between. We'll be home, and then it's off to Flying Tigers jet meet in South Carolina. So really, I don't think I'll have the Sweewind back by then. I might, but in the meantime, I've got to put this engine back in. I got to get the steerman off the table and put away, and I have to rebalance the BDX because of the weight difference. And I had the BDX balanced perfect, and it was flying fantastic. And now we got to start over from scratch. So I had a club member come look at the steerman, and he seemed to think that everything looked pretty good on it. He said, just keep going and finish it. So we're going to do that. Try to make sure everything's square and finish the thing. But so I'll be getting back on the steerman as soon as all this jet crap is taken care of. All right, everybody, let's get back to work on the BDX. Well, let's see if we can get this thing put together and running for Joe Nall. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the engine off the steerman. I was just sitting on there with one bolt for show and tell. Make sure it gets put away. Okay. Okay, that's put away. Here's the smoke nozzles for the jet. Let me get this out of the way, and we'll have room to work. Might need this to clean up fuel. This tends to get messy. Took me quite a few tries to get this engine to run stable on the test stand, but at least I know it's running. So when I get it back in a jet, it might take a few tries to get it to run again stable. Might have to adjust the parameters a little bit. But hopefully it'll run good enough to get me through Joe Nall and the Flying Tigers jet meet. And one of the things I don't like about this engine is that every time I go to use the smoke system, it, well, not every time, but sometimes it'll cause a smoke oil fire in the pipe, and that can lead to deformation of your thrust pipe, and that's not a good thing. Okay. Engine's out. Get rid of this. Okay. I don't think this 3mm line is long enough to reach the engine from where the pump is going to be. So we'll probably take that. 4mm line is too short too. Well, there's a 4mm line already in the airplane. I just need to snip the end and make sure I have a clean cut to go in the Festo. Oh, need to get these smoke oil nozzles back on this engine. To do that, we need to loosen the bands, and then these tabs slip under the bands, engine mount bands, and tighten it back up. And hopefully they stay where you put them, but that's not always the case. No. Okay. What do we got here for hardware? 5.5mm maybe? That's a 5. Five and a 5.5mm nut. Well, they're on there anyway. I don't like the way they move, but hopefully they tend to twist a little bit. I might be able to put a drop of CA on it and hopefully stop that, but the heat of the engine would probably just disintegrate the CA anyway. So I don't know, we'll see how that goes once we get that back in the airplane. So on to the next thing. Alright, I've got the engine sitting in here loosely. The screws are holding just enough so I can tilt the engine up, look underneath and see if there's any leaks. I've got the tank from my test stand in here temporarily so that I can lift up the component panel here and be able to look underneath and see the fuel pump and see if that's dripping, because chances are the 4mm line is the one that's going to leak. I did not prime the lines, which means we're going to get several bad starts. I'm not worried about that too much. Just restart a few times until it's running. So I may have to adjust the parameters on the startup because I have a fuel filter in line on this setup, and it may need a little bit more pressure to get the thing started. So let's I need to relearn the RC too. No. We'll do that quick. Just make sure we're reading the RC. Yeah. Okay. Looks good. Uh-oh. Low battery warning on the ECU. I guess I'm going to have to charge that up quick. Oh, I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright guys, we're ready to start this thing again. I got the battery charged, the ECU battery that runs the engine. And I know it's going to fail. I know we're going to dump a bunch of smoke out the tail. Hopefully it doesn't disturb the neighbors too much. Oh, the ECU, the throttle is learned.
Max reach.
It says stop. Why? Fail safe.
Trim center. Min reach.
I might have to relearn the RC again. Okay, what was going on was my output to the throttle when it's set 100% in the radio was when you bring it back to idle position was causing the failsafe and stop. So I brought my endpoint down to 90% and that solved that problem. So hopefully we get a start out of it this time. Fuel on. Nope. All right, let me try learning this again. Alright, well, I'm gonna have to clean that up and then recut the ends and try it again. Well, I've trimmed the ends on the fuel lines and I'm gonna try to run it again. I still got a fail-safe message, and when I looked in the book and looked it up, it said that the RC values had gone over their limits, which means I may need to do a little more endpoint programming on the radio. But the bad thing was that it stopped it from the cooling phase, so I had to get the blower out quick and blow air over it to get it to cool down. That's not good. I don't like that. But I'm going to give it another try here and see if we're at least still leaking fuel. Trim is up. Fuel is on. Glow plug. Fuel. Damn it. Did it again. I still have a tiny bit of leakage on the Festo, and it doesn't really show up until you put some power on the engine. I think I'm going to have to order a Festo from Aero Panda and have them ship it, because I need to get this thing in the air. The other thing I need to do is figure out why the fail-safe. Why it's fail-safing like that. I may have to adjust my parameters a little more. But this is going to drive me nuts. All right, well, I'm going to do some more tinkering, and I'll get back to you guys when I've got something to tell you. Okay, the BDX is back together with the Jet Central Mammoth in it, and I've got it on the Zykoy scales to check the CG. With the Sweewind, we're a little bit nose heavy, and now with the Jet Central, which is a pound heavier, we're still at 0.17 nose heavy. So I'm going to go with that and not put any weight in the front and see what happens. I'll have to test fly it, and hopefully everything goes good, because Joe Nall is 1 week away. So I have to get this thing test flown and make sure it's going to fly right. So back to work, I guess. Well, everyone, it's 2 days out from Joe Nall at Triple Tree, and time to load up, get ready to go. So here we go, ready or not. All right, everyone, we're hooked up, we're ready to roll. If you're traveling to Joe Nall, I hope you have a safe trip, and I hope you have a fun time down there, and maybe we'll see you there. So happy flying, everybody. Have a safe trip. Bye.